The Cornell Note-Taking System. One of the cornerstone AVID strategies, especially at the higher education level, is the Cornell Note-Taking System. First developed by Walter Pock at Cornell University in 1949, this system has been continually refined and enhanced using research on memory and learning theory. As an instructor, it is important for you to realize that this is not only a note-taking system, but a note-making system as well. A system that takes into account what students do with their notes once they have taken them. The Cornell Note-Taking System guides students through a complete cycle of learning: questioning, summarizing, reflecting, reviewing, and assessing, and incorporates all WICOR strategies. This is an essential skill that improves with time and practice, involving a complex set of competencies and a series of steps. It is also important for you to understand that the Cornell Note-Taking System needs to be explicitly taught and practiced consistently for it to be truly effective. As Pock and Owen state, taking effective notes requires work, it requires time, and it forces you to be actively engaged in what you are reading or listening to. It is also important to note that this system does not require you to change how you deliver instruction. Rather, it changes how students record and interact with the information you provide them during a lecture or reading. It prompts students to think about their notes in unfamiliar ways. While you may find that students at first resist, those who persist will find that it does improve their academic performance. It is also important to note that the Cornell Note-Taking System is not meant to be a one-size-fits-all approach to note-taking. Rather, you as the instructor should feel free to adapt the system to fit the needs of both you and your students. The Cornell Note-Taking System is not something that can be taught in one day. It is a system that is designed to be scaffolded over several class sessions. You can begin by having students discuss and share their past note-taking experiences. There are several ways that you can accomplish this task. You might have your students start out with a quick write, which documents how they learned to take notes and who taught them. You can also have students work in groups to complete a think, pair, share with a completed quick write, where they share their previous note-taking experiences. You can also have them write a reflection on their past experiences with note-taking. After students have shared in groups or pairs, you can have them discuss what they might do with their notes once they have taken them. You might then follow this with a brainstorming activity about why note-taking is a good skill to learn and to improve. You can also take some time to share some of the research that has been done on effective note-taking by experts in the field, such as research on the curve of forgetting and research on allowing students to have time to reflect on what they have learned both individually and collaboratively. You should also take some time to explain to students the skills that they will need to become effective note-takers, such as being able to listen effectively, to know what to write down and what not to write down, to know how to use organizational tools such as abbreviations, symbols, highlighting, spacing, and bullets, and to know how to use and apply notes after taking them. There are 4 parts to the Cornell Note-Taking System: note-taking, note-making, note-interacting, note-reflecting. Part 1 of the Cornell Note-Taking System is note-taking, which prompts students to listen attentively or read carefully to capture in writing the main ideas of a lecture or text. As an instructor, you will first need to show your students how to create the format of Cornell Notes. You should begin by demonstrating for students how to set up the page. Students should draw a vertical line down the page with 1/3 of the page to the left of the line and 2/3 to the right. They should then draw a horizontal line across the page about 3 inches from the bottom. You can show your students how to fold the paper into this format as well. Students should then be instructed to label the parts of this format, including heading, date, topic, notes, questions, and summary. Once students have created the format for Cornell Notes, you should discuss with them the mechanics of taking notes. You should encourage your students to use common abbreviations and to create their own abbreviations, which will help them become more efficient note-takers and enable them to increase the number of words in working memory, resulting in improved retention. Following the 10-2 lesson structure, you can then give a 10-minute mini lecture to provide your students with an opportunity to practice their note-taking skills. Part 2 of the system is note-making. It is important to remember that while students take notes on lectures or readings, they make notes by revising and refining their notes, either by individually reviewing their notes or exchanging ideas through collaborative activities. Using the notes that they took during the mini-lecture, students then need to be explicitly taught how to further refine their notes to be able to use them in the most effective way. Students should be given time during class to review, process, and refine their notes individually. Students should then be taught how to look for chunks of similar information or key ideas in their notes. From each chunk, they should be taught how to generate corresponding questions in the left-hand column, especially higher-level questions which can be answered in their notes or lingering questions they still have about the material. During the 2-minute phase of the 10-2 lesson structure, students should next be given the opportunity to exchange ideas through various collaborative activities. At this time, they can compare notes to fill in gaps, compare questions they have written in the left-hand column, and compare summaries. Through these activities, students can learn how to effectively exchange ideas and questions and can model for each other how to generate higher-order thinking. Part 3 of the system is Note Interacting, which asks students to interact with their notes through summaries, reflections, annotations, and questions. This allows students to link their learning on a given topic, providing them with a big picture that ties main ideas from different parts of their notes together. This is also an opportunity for you as an instructor to make sure that students understand the difference between an objective summary of the notes and a personal reflection, which will be a more subjective take on their notes. In the Cornell Note-Taking System, students are taught to focus on writing a summary, not a reflection. This is an extremely important step in the process, since it allows students, both individually and collaboratively, to understand the difference between simply retelling information versus connecting information from disparate parts to demonstrate deep learning. The final part of the process, Part 4, is Note Reflecting, which allows students to receive feedback on the note-taking process itself from various perspectives and in various manners. Students can receive informal written feedback from peers through peer review activities and from instructors who can more formally monitor the progress that students make as they learn the Cornell Note-Taking System. You will need to give students time to review and discuss the feedback that they have received from peers and from you for this to be effective. Students should also be encouraged to do personal reflection through the use of such activities as learning logs and quick writes, which will help them make connections to other subjects and life experiences. You as the instructor also have the opportunity to provide students with more structured processing of their notes during class time. Using the materials that students have produced through the 10-2 lesson structure, you may encourage your students to work collaboratively through such activities as sharing their summaries, sharing the questions they have come up with, or sharing the questions they have composed for quizzes or exams. It is also important to encourage students to continue to revisit their notes as part of a more extended note-making process. Remember, notes should be considered living documents. For more information on these and other AVID critical reading strategies, contact your AHE liaison or AHE program manager.